Can you believe it? Season 7, Disc 2, Episode 257. It's almost over. I've been doing this for well over 2 years. Every week, we've been doing an episode of Star Trek Next Generation recap. And it's almost over. I think we'll move on to Voyager. Because I don't know what else to do. And I thank you all for staking with me all this time. I know I'm not very good at this. I wish I could just let it run and we talk about it as it goes, but legal stuff. And I'd like to do it live and run it and watch it and talk about it. But I don't have the audience for that yet. I mean, I've done a couple of live videos and no one has shown up. So, I don't have the following for that type of situation yet. But welcome to the D. Louise book series. I'm Christina KRS, TINA. This is where we read books, talk about books, no special effects, no theme music, no fancy magic stuff going on here. And once a week, because I am a series person, we recap an episode of Star Trek Next Generation. And we are on Season 7, Disc 2, Episode 257. This is Part 2, Gambit. I hope you were with me last week for Gambit Part 1. And then next week we'll do Phantasms, Dark Place, and Attached. Okay. We'll have to see what that's about. We get one of those recaps in the beginning. We thought incorrectly that Picard was dead. They don't tell us anything, and that was one of my big issues with the episode, the way it started last week, was that we're not, there's no body, and we're told he's assumed to be dead, and they're doing an investigation, and it's like we come into the middle of the story, and they have to go back and explain to us what happened. I don't like when authors do that. We're on the brink of imminent disaster, and blah 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 blah. And then the next scene is, well, it all started back when blah blah blah. I don't really like that too much, and especially with this episode, it didn't work for me. So let's get to it here. Let's see if we can get. Nope, not even a voiceover. So let's get to it. Hold on a second. I forgot. I usually show the Gambit screen first. Okay, here we go. Let's start. Okay, so now we're in a firefight with the Enterprise. This is how we start the episode off. I guess I should be showing the other side, but I just Worf says a direct hit to the port nacelle, only minimal damage hit your starboard. Still no appreciable damage. We must have done something to the weapons. Data says, I believe you're right, Counselor. It's now up to us to play along. And then they release power to Dex 37, and we do inertial dampeners, and then we're back on the other side. And he said, I've lost 3 plasma relays on the disruptors. Auxiliary propeller is not available. Transfer weapons to my system. There's a way to bypass. And then they do some more back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then we're back on the Enterprise again. I'm not very good at this. So, the action continues on the enemy ship where Picard and Riker are. Then Data's back on the Enterprise, and then back onto the Picard ship, and then back onto Data's ship, and it goes back and forth. And I'm just no good at any of that. It's action. They're shooting each other, they're firing each other, blah, blah, blah. Let's get on with it. Sorry, I'm just horrible at this. So, they are pretending to continue to fight. Here's our Enterprise crew. They don't know yet that that's where Riker and Picard are. They don't know that yet. And then the other ship, the one that Picard is on, the guy decides they need to get out of here. They need to go someplace and get something done. So they leave. And Worf is upset with Data that he's not pursuing immediately. I think Data's got some plans. So let's check this out, see if he does. So they know that Riker's on the other ship now. So now they're trying to find a message, any kind of message. Where was it? I lost my place. Worf says two war starships have been sent to intercept the mercenaries at Yadella Prime and Drakenfor in case they attempt to attack those planets. Data says, inform Starfleet Command that we will hold this position until further notice. So we're just going to sit here, Worf says? Yes, we're going to continue to pursue all avenues of investigation. If we not let them escape, it would not be necessary. That is correct, Commander. But I believe Commander Riker wanted us to let them escape. And Geordi says, I think I've got something. I've been studying the comm link Commander Riker used to transmit his command codes. I didn't see anything at first, but then I ran through this subharmonic analysis. I found this. It was sent by the same carrier as the command codes. It might be a message we've been looking for. Possibly. I'll attempt to resequence the signal, but begin running a search for decryption key. And then we're back on the other ship. So then we're back on the other ship. I'm taking the engines offline. How will it take to repair our damage? It will take at least 5 hours to replace the antimatter containment unit. You have 3, Narek. 1 minute beyond that, and you'll answer for it with your life. I suppose I should thank you. None of us would be alive if it weren't for you. Riker's like, you're welcome. What's wrong, Commander? You have second thoughts about betraying your comrades? Because that's what you've done. You've betrayed them. Betrayed them in order to save yourself. You used to be a second-rate officer. Now you're a traitor and a coward. And then they do a pretend fight. Oh, good God. Oh, then Picard talks to Talila, and he's like, "What? You tell Baran I'm working as fast as I can on these artifacts. I'm trying to decide if you're incredibly stupid or incredibly smart. Why didn't you continue to fire on the Enterprise when their shields dropped? Picard, you were there. The disruptors lost power. Computer reset for diagnostic new sample. Begin scan. I've watched you handle the weapon systems before. You know exactly how to bypass a problem like that. And why do you continue to argue with Riker? It should be obvious that by alienating Riker, you also alienate Baron. And yet you continue to do so. Why? And he keeps going on with the scan. She suspects something. You know she suspects something. Uh, and he's found something. So now we got to go to the cargo bay. Oh, wait. I made a mistake. We got to go to Baron's quarters first. And, I know the actor is not but it reminds me of Khan. He just reminds me of Khan. One of the artifacts. Good, bring it to me. Don't let anyone near it. Understood, Talera out. That sounds like good news. Very good news. We've completed half of what promises to be a very profitable mission. Even better than that, I'm almost ready to get rid of your friend Galen. Really? There's one more artifact to find. Once Galen confirms that it's genuine, his usefulness on this ship will come to a sudden end. I can't say I'm sorry to hear that. Galen might be a loudmouth fool, but sometimes he's quite perceptive. His observations about you, for instance. Oh? After what you did on Calda 2, I doubt if you have much of a future in Starfleet. Yes, I must say I've come to the same conclusion. We're assuming you were not my prisoner. What would you have done? I guess I'd start looking for a new career. There must be a place where someone with 15 years of Starfleet technical knowledge could be useful. You wouldn't happen to know a place like that, Riker says. Jesus. It's interesting outfits they make them wear. I'll have to try and see if I can go backwards and show it. But he's still talking to Riker. I haven't exactly sworn undying allegiance to you either, Brian. For instance, I'd like to know a bit more about the job, such as Such as what you mean by a profitable mission. Well, it's enough to know right now that your share will ensure a very wealthy and long life far from Federation. Sounds promising, Riker says. It is, only you're going to have to earn it. You can start by putting aside your dislike for Galen and becoming his friend. Galen has allies on his ship. They could cause trouble if I just tried to kill him. Okay. I don't know about this. Yeah, that almost looks like Klingon makeup. Maybe he's part Klingon somewhere. I was just thinking about that. I should show one of him standing up, shouldn't I? But it looks like he's wearing garters. When he stands up, it looks like he's wearing garters. I don't know why. I just pointed that out. But he has a continued conversation with him about possibly joining his side of the table. So then we're back on the Enterprise. Data says, I've completed my analysis of the signal from the mercenary ship. I believe these groupings represent bearings or coordinates taken from their navigational system. So you think this is their flight plan? Yes, if I'm correct, the mercenary ship is heading toward these coordinates in the Hyralis sector. Their maximum speed is warp 8.7. It will take them at least 14 hours to reach that point. We could be there in 5, Geordi says. Make it so. Worf says, finally, set course for Hylian Sister and engage at Warp 9. Aye, sir. Lieutenant, can I see you in my ready room? And Worf is like, okay. Time for a chit chat. I wish we would get a side view. I'll have to look and see if there is a side view, but I hate this talks face, this talks face, this talks face, this talks face. I'd like to get a group shot just once. Lieutenant, I'm dissatisfied with your performance as first officer. May I ask why? You continually question my orders in front of the crew. I do not believe this is appropriate behavior. With all due respect, sir, I have always felt free to voice my opinions even when they differ from those of Captain Picard and Riker. True, but in those situations you are acting as head of security, not as first officer. The primary role of the second in command is to carry out the decisions of the captains, in this case me. But it is not my duty to offer you alternatives. Yes, once I've made my decision, it is your job to carry it out regardless of how you may feel personally. Any further objections should be given to me in private, not in front of the crew. I do not recall Commander Riker ever publicly showing irritation with the captain as you did a moment ago. No, sir. If you do not feel capable of carrying out this role, I can assign Commander LaForge and return you to tactical. I would prefer to remain at my current post. Then I expect you to conform to guidelines I have laid out. Aye, sir. Dismiss, Worf. Mr. Wolf, I'm sorry if I've ended our friendship. It is I who have jeopardized our friendship, not you. If you will overlook this incident, I will continue to consider you my friend. I would like that as well, Data says. That's good. He did things so well and diplomatically. So then Riker goes to see Picard. It's good to see you. I've had some unpleasant surprises. Well, this isn't a good idea. Baron might get some ideas. Well, as a matter of fact, it was Baron who sent me here to be friend with you and help you organize a mutiny so he can determine who your supporters in the crew and eliminate them. What a tangled web we weave. I have difficulty remembering whose side I'm on. So, what have you been able to find out? When we reach the Hyrillian sector, we're supposed to rendezvous with the Klingon transport ship. I'm not sure, but I think they might be delivering another of the Romulan artifacts to us. A second artifact? Oh, by the way, the first artifact is not Romulan, it's Vulcan. Vulcan? I have been looking over the glyphics and pictograms from Calder 2 artifact, and although I don't have much data to translate all the inscriptions, the alphabet and symbology is much more consistent with early Vulcan than Romulan. Do these artifacts have some religious or cultural significance? Something that would make them valuable to kill for? I don't know, Picard says, if I could get access to the Enterprise computer for just a few moments. So what will Brand do once he's obtained the second artifact? Oh, you're supposed to verify it, then he's going to kill you. Oh, Will, you always seem to be after my job. Well, as soon as Brand feels that I've outlived my euphemisms, he can kill me simply by using the neuro servo. So I think I better start planning that mutiny. So then Picard talks to Narek about starting a mutiny and for him to become captain. Then Talera confronts Picard. And she says, "You're no smuggler, and I don't think your name's Galen. You'll tell me who you really are and what you're doing on the ship, or I'll kill you." "What are you talking about? I'm not playing games with you. I found the message you sent to the Enterprise. When Riker was using his command codes to drop their shields, you sent them a transmission on the same carrier wave. You're a Starfleet officer. Don't deny it. It's the only logical conclusion. My name is T'Pau, by the way. I'm a member of the Shar. Vulcan security," he says. "That's correct. I infiltrated this ship a year ago posing as a Romulan mercenary. I'm here to investigate a possible threat to Vulcan." "What sort of threat?" "First things first, who are you?" "I'm Jean-Luc Picard of the Enterprise." "Very well. To answer your question, for several years now there's been a small but growing movement of extreme isolationists on Vulcan. A group that believes that contact with alien races has polluted our culture and destroying Vulcan purity. This group advocates the total isolation of Vulcan from the rest of the galaxy and the eradication of alien races from our planet." I know somebody else is trying to do that from our country. But anyways, that sounds like an illogical philosophy. Agreed, but extremists often have logic all their own. Tell me, Tara, where are the artifacts we've been collecting? I know they're on Vulcan origin. I'm sure you're familiar with the ancient history of my people. Before we found logic, before we found peace, you were much as my people were, savage, warlike. There was a time when we used our telepathic abilities as weapons, a time when we learned to kill with a thought. The Stone of Gold. You know it. I know the story from Vulcan mythology. The Stone of Gold is real, but there is nothing supernatural or magic about it. It's a pisonic resonator, a device that focuses and amplifies telepathic energy. It's one of the most devastating weapons ever conceived. But according to the legend, the stone was destroyed by the gods when the Vulcan people found their way to restore peace. The resonator was believed to have been destroyed during the time of the awakening. Only one piece is known to survive, and it was placed in a Vulcan museum under heavy guard. A year ago, it was stolen. A telepathic weapon. My orders are to find the assassin and stop him. It would seem that Baran has to deliver those artifacts to the assassin in order to get paid. Therefore, you and I should continue our masquerade. So they make a plan. So now we're back on the Enterprise. And we do get a small acting captain's log, stardate 471601. The Enterprise is entering the Hylian sector, which I believe to be the next destination of the mercenary ship. I'm picking up a small vessel bearing 127 Mark 335. Is it the mercenary ship? No, it's a Klingon. A Turon-class shuttlecraft, one person, open channel. This is Lieutenant Commander Data of the Federation Enterprise. Corral, I take it that's your name. May I inquire your destination? No. May I ask your purpose of your journey? No. You think a Cleon's gonna say anything else? Hold on. There's our guy. Perhaps I have not made our intentions clear. We are investigating. And he turns off the screen and cuts them off. So Troy says, Data says, he seems most uncooperative. He may have been curt, but he was also very worried and even a little scared. Sir, may I recommend we bring the shuttle aboard with our tractor beam? Search it, interrogate Call. According to the terms of the Klingon Federation Treaty, Call has every right to free transit through the Federation space. We cannot board or search his vessel without cause. And Worf is getting in it again. Yes, sir. However, the treaty does give us the right to conduct health and safety inspections of any ship in our space. Health and safety inspections? I'm not sure that using this clause as an excuse to conduct a search would be consistent with the spirit of the treaty. Yes, sir. However, if Corral wishes to contest our actions, he can file a protest with the Judge Advocate General's office. Bring the shuttle aboard. Then you and Dr. Crusher can inspect it. See, they found their ways around the stuff. A twisty-turny, but it works for them. So we're back on the other ship, and she says, we've got a message from the Klingon shuttle. It was sent 15 minutes ago. He's at the rendezvous point, but he's been detained by the Enterprise. He stopped transmitting. The Enterprise? How could they have found out about our rendezvous, Commander? Quiet. All matters now is that the Enterprise has the second artifact in their possession. We don't have a choice. We'll have to board the Enterprise and take it. Do you have any idea how many security officers are on board that ship? Picard says. No, I don't, but he does. I could get us on the Enterprise. I can find the artifact. Oh, yes, very convenient. We beam you back aboard your ship, and we have to risk that you won't change your mind and betray us. I saved your life already, Galen. I think you would be ready to show some gratitude. I knew I lost a word there somewheres. So we're going to fake going on the Enterprise now. Let's see if we get away with it. So then Troy is explaining to the corral. I'm sure the health and safety inspection won't last longer. And in the meantime, I'm glad we have this opportunity to get to know you. May I ask you what business you're in? Lieutenant Worf has programmed the replicators to make a very good apocalyptic and a Klingon bread wine. Would you be interested in some? And he pours it on the carpet. You know how hard it is going to be able to get that red dye out of the carpet? Oh, now we're back in the shuttle bay. Well, that's my third scan. I still haven't found anything out of the ordinary. He must be hiding something. We should download his computer memory and analyze it. I have a hard time defending that as part of a safety inspection. We could claim the computer was generating an abnormal radiation. Worf, we're pretty on shaky ground as it is. We can't, just ask the rating part. Oh, they get interrupted. Let's see what happens. So, they beam in, and, Precious Riker says, I guess you're surprised to see me, Doctor. And she says, you can see that. Come here. Come here. We're being interrupted. We're being interrupted. I guess you could say that I've had a change of possession. It's not in here. Hey, where's the artifact? I don't know what you're talking about, Worf says. Use your brain. They wouldn't be searching the shuttle if they had the artifact. Corral must have it. Where's the Klingon pilot? He's on the shuttle. He's on the observation desk. So they knock Dr. Crusher and Worf out, and they beam up to the observation lounge. I think. Alright. If anybody is still here watching my video, can you answer a question for me? It's Dr. Crusher, it's Worf, it's Picard, it's Riker. There's the four of them. There's only two aliens. They've got weapons. Why don't you knock the aliens out and then go work with your own people while you're on board? Why pretend? Why continue the charade? There's no one else in the cargo bay except the two of them. So why just knock out the two guys and proceed with your own? I don't understand why they continue the farce. I just don't understand why they continue it. So if you could answer that question for me, I'd be appreciative. So we've got an extra needy cat today. Extra needy cat today. And so they're trying to talk to him to get him to reveal his mission, and he's not doing nothing. And then they beam into the observation, and the roost is up, and they're after the artifact. So they have a pretend firefight, and Picard shoots Riker so Riker can stay on the ship, and Picard goes back with the mercenaries. I don't understand why they just didn't capture all the mercenaries and be done with it on the ship. I don't know why they still have to play along with this plot. So they tell the mercenaries that Riker's dead, but Picard just stunned him. And Data says I'm having a similar experience. He's stunned too. Can an android be stunned? There's another question for you. So then we're back on the other ship, and Picard gives Baron the artifact, and tells that Riker is a traitor and that he's been killed. And now they're gonna try a little mutiny or something. Let's see if we can get this going. So we perform a little mutiny here. Picard stuns Galen. He has switched the transponder codes, and Bran is on the floor. And now they're gonna. Picard takes all the devices, and he said there'll be no more punishing now. And he's taken over the ship. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. So then Riker is talking to this guy. Let's see if we can find it. I'm human. I make mistakes. Hold on a second. Okay. That's what happens when a kitty cat gets involved with a printer. So Riker is talking to Minister Satak of Vulcan Security. Sir, I thought we should let you know that the merchant ship has been raiding planets and the Tugger sector is probably on its way to Vulcan right now. I do not understand. I'm sorry, sir. It's been a difficult couple of days. I know that one of your operatives has been on the mercenary ship investigating the possibility of reassembling of the Pisonic Renaissance. I didn't want someone to make a mistake and start firing at them when they approach your planet. Commander, I believe there is a problem. We have no mercenary aboard the ship. Oops. Oops. Traitor. Double traitor. So then Picard is telling the fake security Vulcan, according to Baron's logs, we are to deliver the two pieces to Taco Sanctuary in Vulcan. I know the place. It's an underground stronghold for one of the factions during the last Civil War. It's been abandoned for centuries. Galen to Bridge, alter course for Vulcan, understood. I wonder if you could possibly help me with something. I've been able to translate most of the writings on these two pieces for the part. They're warnings of death and destruction to anyone who poses the resonator, but I'm not able to determine what appears on the interior side. For example, this symbol represents the Vulcan god of war, and this of god of death, but if you look really closely, you see this third symbol is missing. Now, that obviously should belong to the final piece. Now, that's odd. This is gods of death and war would always stand alone an artifact. They would never be combined with a third glyph. And she's like, fascinating. I'm really anxious to see the final artifact because it might provide an invaluable insight to Vulcan mythology. When we arrive at Vulcan, I'll take these pieces to secure a holding area before going to the sanctuary. I prefer to go alone. It will arouse less suspicion. Well, there should be no problem about our entering orbit. I asked Commander Riker to contact Vulcan authorities from the Enterprise and let them know that we're coming. Why did you do that? Well, I didn't want to risk a misunderstanding. Someone might have mistaken this for an actual raid. It was a wise precaution, she says. Perhaps I should contact the Enterprise, have them meet us at Vulcan just in case these isolationists try to escape. Your officers appreciate it, but security forces are more than adequate. I see. Do you think it's wise for you to go alone? After all, they were expecting Brand to show up. Oh, good God. He knows it. She knows it. Ah. Then he confesses. She tells that who he is. He confesses his identity. He confesses the entire plan. He confesses everything to everybody. And then they beam down to the tunnels, and he gets the missing piece, and Picard figures it out. They've all got their weapons. Don't make any aggressive movements. The resonator amplifies violent feelings and emotions, and that's why you wanted me to pick up the phaser. That's how you were able to kill Nakor and Vector. I can see the symbol on the third artifact, and it's a Vulcan symbol for peace. standing between the two symbols of war and death. It's a warning the power resonator can be overcome by peace. And she tries to steal it. And then Worf comes in. So then Worf, Riker, and the security team being down in the tunnel. And in the middle of all this, Picard has put together the pieces. He's put all the pieces together, and they've merged to form the weapon in one piece. But when the pieces were formed, and he put the middle piece in, which was peace, it made the weapon inoperable. So as long as Picard explains it to the guys and they all put down their weapons and declare peace, her weapon becomes inoperable and they take her captive. Wait a second. She's not too happy it doesn't work anymore. So then we're back on the Enterprise and we get a little voiceover. Captain's log, stardate 47169.2. Security Minister Satok has taken Talera into custody and been in search for the rest of the isolationists. Once we realized that you were no longer on the mercenary ship, we scanned the surface for your neural implant. We tracked the signals to the caverns. What became of the resonator? Satek assured me that all three pieces will be destroyed. It's unfortunate it cannot be studied. The resonator is a key artifact from a remarkable period of time. Normally, I would be the first one to agree, but perhaps some things are best left in the past. What's going to happen to the mercenaries? Oh, they will be detained by Vulcan authorities for the moment, but they're also facing charges from the Klingons, Cardassians, the Ferengi, and at least 7 other worlds. I don't think we'll be hearing from them for a while. Number 1, you'll set course for Starbase 227. I'll join you on the bridge shortly. Wait a minute. You've been declared dead. You can't give orders around here. Data, if we are here to the exact letter of Starfleet regulations, then technically, sir, you have been declared a renegade. In fact, you are facing 12 counts of court-martial offenses. You cannot give orders either, sir. That's quite right. I'm supposed to be dead. I'll go and get some sleep. And, Mr. Data, I suggest that you escort Commander Riker to the brig. Aye, sir. He was joking, Data. He was joking. And that is the end of shoot. And that was the end of Gambit Part 2. I hope you will join me next week for Phantasms, and the week after Dark Page, and the week after Attached. And we are getting so close to the final ending. I can't believe it. I can't believe it's almost over. And while we're at it, go check out Flashback Mondays. Have a good... And don't forget If Then later this afternoon. Have a good one.